Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Midnight Circuit. I am Yanni Hamburger, and my special guest this week is a horror author, musician, a jack of all trades, really. She does a whole bunch of stuff. It is Miss Andrea Van Scoyoc. I think I got it right this time.
Van Scoyoc, but that's okay.
You do a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, we'd be sitting here for an hour at least explaining everything you do. So give us a little taste of everything you do.
Well, as you said, I am an author. I am a Gothic author. Used to be a horror author. Now I've switched to Gothic after coming out of a 12-year retirement. Mm-hmm. I also do poetry. I am an AI musician. I always like to throw that in there, AI. I don't want anyone to think that they're being baited and switched. I have zero musical talent, but I can write song lyrics and poetry that I can turn into song lyrics. So I am an AI musician. I also have done mixed tracks of public domain music that is more my dark ambient and Gothic doom. Think like Dark Sanctuary, Lycia. That's what a lot of people say about some of my music. I am a professional narrator, have been for 30 plus years. I am a hobby filmmaker, and I tend to forget this because I don't do it a lot anymore, but I'm also a genuine empath, paranormal investigator. Mm-hmm. And I have just recently started my own Christian Goth church, Crowhaven Chapel. So,
yeah, tell me about that, because I find it interesting because, especially you and I were both in the South. We've ran into that before.
Yes.
How do you run your church?
It's very simple. Right now it's online because we are so spread out all over the place, because it's kind of like I'm a Melungeon. I'm triracial. And I remember growing up that I was always two one thing for one race and two one thing for the other race. So I was constantly in the middle and being picked on by both of the races. I could be tolerated by one, but then the other could like me too, but then they could turn on me in the blink of an eye. And I find that being a Christian and a Goth is the same thing. So it's kind of like I'm staying in my wheelhouse. I'm used to it, because in the Goth community, a lot of the Goth community you've got your people who aren't Christian. I don't want to sound like I'm denigrating anyone, because I'm not, but you've got your people who aren't Christian and who tend to do things a little darker and a little more evil, if you will. Some of them will proudly say they are evil. And then you've got your Christian community. The Goth community tends to look at us like we're idiots because we love Jesus and want to spread the word. And the Christian community looks at us like we're devil worshiping, child burning serial killers, and that we're all doomed for hell. So it's kind of like the same thing I've always been used to in my whole life. We don't fit into either camp. Yeah. There's always one or the other telling us why we're wrong and why we can't do what we do. Well, I'm looking to change that. I have a very different outlook. Like you said, South. I grew up a hellfire, brimstone, and damnation Southern Baptist.
Who hasn't in the South?
Exactly. A church on Sunday, you didn't miss church unless you were on your deathbed. I mean, I grew up and I had so many questions growing up that no one could answer for me. I was just, and I'm sure you've run into this yourself. In the South, you don't question religion at all.
No.
That's bad. You just have faith, and that's just how it is.
Yes.
Because I always wondered why we had to pay some man, and that was what I considered tithing, paying some man to give us a sermon every Sunday, when Jesus walked the earth with the clothes on his back, the shoes on his feet. Everywhere he went, he had something to wear. He had shoes, he had food, and he had a place to stay. And I'm like, how come we can't do that now? Well, of course, I might as well have been the Antichrist asking those kinds of questions. And I found out much later on, doing genealogical research, that I have a good bit of Quaker in my ancestry. And that explains my outlook now, because I'm like, nope, don't want your money. Nope, don't want to go into a building, want to come over to my house and have service. Sure, let's sit around and read the Bible and discuss it. And in the South, in Christian churches, that's no, you don't discuss.
Yeah.
You just take what the preacher says as the gospel, and that's it. You leave. Have a nice day.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. But
no,
my last experience, I think a lot of people know I'm pretty openly Nordic pagan, so I have to fight off some stereotypes too that, I'm not really, the same way with you when it comes to the Christian side. I've got to fight off, hey, are you one of those people? No.
Yeah.
The last church experience I had was, and I've come to find out, I'm not going to call it a cult. It's not a cult by any stretch, but the preacher liked a certain book of the Bible because that's how the money came in.
Yes.
And yeah, I looked at my mom one day and I go, does he know that books other than Revelations exist? I mean,
yeah,
it was one of those, seriously, one of those where like Sunday school, even for the kids, was like, this happened, this happened, this happened, and this is how we know we are getting towards the end times. And I'm just sitting there going, I'm 10. I don't want to hear about the world ending,
Yeah. In my church, it was everything was going to send you to hell, no matter what it was.
That was the other thing.
We could only hope that God would show us mercy when we get to heaven. Beg for his mercy. No matter what you did, it was bad and you were going to go to hell. And that is, I've sworn, it is my mission statement that is not how my church is. It's online right now because, like I said, we are so few and far in between. There's probably more of us than I realize, but because of the stigma, because of what we go through, not a lot of people are going to jump up and say, oh yeah, I'm a Christian goth, and even less are going to, I'm really toned down today, but if you look at me when I do my Bible readings, I'm completely in my goth attire because I want people to know if that is how you want to come to the Lord, then you come. Jesus doesn't care what you wear. He hung out with lepers and hookers. What would he care what you wear?
That's exactly what I've always wondered too. So why do we have to get into our Sunday best every week?
Right. Come as you are. And a lot of places say that, but they don't follow through with it. And so I read the Bible. I don't preach. I don't preach. If people have questions, I will try to answer them, or if they want to discuss, but I read the Bible, and I don't care what edition of the Bible you read, we can muddle through it together. I personally read King James. That's probably something I will never get out of because I'm just one of those that likes all the old language, the flowery. I just love all that personally. And that probably stems from me being an author. Yeah. But if you want to read the New International Standard or the New King James Version or the New International Version, I don't care. Read with me and discuss in the comments, because it's just like I was just talking to a friend of mine and I said, if you show 10 people a piece of art, all 10 of them are going to have a different opinion of what it is and what it means to them. Yep. And I said, that doesn't mean that all 10 of them are right. Doesn't mean that all 10 of them are wrong. It means that they are seeing the uniqueness and the beauty differently. And why should that be shunned?
I agree. I just never understood why they've, especially those people done that. But I've always been one of those people. It's like, you're just as much of a Christian sitting in a church as you are a car sitting in a garage.
Yes.
For me, it's, you talk a good game, but do you actually practice what you preach? And that goes for any religion. It's like you can talk great because I've read a lot of religious texts, whether it's Muslim or is Jewish or what have you, and they all pretty much say the same thing: just be a decent math person. All right, that's
exactly. And what has always gotten me, which is where I really lean to my Quaker side, which has really gotten me is, oh, well, the money that you tithe to the church, that's going to the glory of God. How's that going to the glory of God when his son wasn't even allowed in church? He was considered a heretic and under penalty of death. Yeah. Could he enter the church? It's like, so how can this gauche building this monstrosity that you're putting up be for anybody's glory except your own pocketbook.
Yeah. And I've never understood that. And my whole thing is also, shouldn't that money be going to help the community?
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, we've got a couple people in radio that listen to the sports talk program that I'm on. One of them is a legitimate pastor of a church, and I actually fully respect him because he's the kind of guy who does a bunch of fundraisers, but that fundraiser goes back to helping people pay rent, putting somebody up in a hotel that may have just lost their house for a week or two. It's little things like that instead of, like Joel Osteen did, allegedly locking people out of his church during a flood. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
name makes me want to turn into Reagan from The Exorcist and start spitting green pea soup.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes me so physically ill. And the way I look at it is faith manages. Yes, I stole that from Babylon 5. Sorry, that's
Hey.
when Delenn and Lanier are locked in with the Marcab. I don't know if you ever saw the show. Excellent show.
You're stealing from one of the classics.
Yes, yes. But that is so true. Faith manages. I sponsor an orphanage in Uganda out of my own pocket. I pick up aluminum cans and recycle them. That is where I get the money to do everything that I do for the church. You will never see me, and I'm not saying that like, ooh, look at me. No, I'm saying it like, you will never see me pass an offering plate. You will never, ever, ever see me. I'm not disrespecting anyone who has to do it because I understand bills have to be paid, but you will never, ever see me have a donation button anywhere. You will never, ever see that. I figure whatever I'm supposed to have, whatever I'm supposed to do, I will have it and I will do it. And as far as I'm concerned, that's how every church should be. So
I wholeheartedly agree with you. But let's move on over to writing because you took a 12-year break.
I did.
And you said at one time you pretty much sold your sanity for writing.
I did. Very much did. Oh my gosh, I was burned out. I was doing 3 and 4 conventions a month, book signings, 2 and 3 interviews a week. And it just got to be way too much. And I nearly lost my mind.
When was the moment when you said, damn, I miss writing? I should do it. I should start again.
I had a couple of times. One time was in like 2021. I was like, okay, I'm going to start writing again. And then I dipped my toe into the waters and I feel like Rip Van Winkle because things were so different when I retired. And I dipped my toe in and I was like, okay, yeah, no, I don't know what this world is. So then I left. I wrote a couple of things and left. Came back 2023 and I'm like, okay, this time I'm going to give it a legitimate try and I'm going to try to come back. But let me tell you, it has not been easy because so many of the simplistic things worked when I was first writing. Like we used to have these things called banner exchanges. That was when people had actual websites and you could put banners up on your website and you could click and you'd get visits. And they would have banner lists and you would list your banner and people could click and you'd get 50 visits a day. And I mean, it was great back then. And one of the things that really caught me off guard when I came out of writing for real in 2023 was, oh, we'd like you to be an ambassador for our brand. And I'm like, okay, great. Because I had been an ambassador early in my days in writing. And they're like, okay, we'd like to offer you 4 free pieces of whatever. And then you just buy this and then wear it and send it. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
There.
Buy what? And I'm like, and I until I was blue in the face, I kept explaining to these people, I really don't think the world has changed that much. That's not how being an ambassador works. You send people stuff for free and then they promote it like they're part of your business.
Yep.
And of course, I wouldn't hear back from them. And then the next thing was oh yeah, we'll represent you. We'll give you 500,000 impressions for $60 a month. And I'm like, what, what is all this? And so that has been my biggest hurdle with getting back into writing. And I don't regret it, but it's definitely been culture shock.
Oh yeah. No, I'm just glad that I found, because now that I'm taking it seriously, I'm glad that I found things like Substack and
Oh,
even Blue Sky, finding a writers community on there. But sometimes it just feels like you're just in that circle where you're just promoting everybody and they're promoting you, but it's only in a tight circle and it's not getting out there. And that's what I found to be the biggest problem because, I get it. Substack's got some issues that some people don't want to deal with, especially with certain people that are on Substack. That's one of the reasons. But just trying to get your writing out there now is a pain in the butt. And
and I can't say that Threads on Instagram is much better.
Oh God.
Because I can't tell you how many times I see these people, and this was always considered tacky back in my day, but things have changed so much. Who am I to say what's tacky now? I'd like to support people, but no one follows me. Answer this and I'll follow you back. And I'll say, oh, hi, here I am. Follow me, I'll follow you back. Nothing. Nothing.
Oh gosh, those are the most annoying things. It's, dear algorithm, please send me people with da 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 da. And I'm like, be interesting and people will follow you.
Yeah, if I see that post one more time, I think I'm gonna absolutely implode.
Yeah, I'm at that point now on Substack where they're like, here's the genres of people I'm trying to follow. Mute.
Yes. And what really gets me, and this is probably the worst of all, save the worst for last.
Yeah.
This is the absolute worst. People do not know how to network anymore. I contacted someone, she does this beautiful, beautiful art. And I said, hey, would you like to have music set to your art? I am a musician and I can put music to your art. What? I don't understand how that would work. Or I would contact somebody and say, oh, hey, tag me in what you want shared and I'll tag you in what, I want shared and we'll do back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
No tags. I'll take a picture of someone or something and I'll tag them. I'll be lucky if they even allow the tag on their Facebook.
Oh.
And it's like, I don't understand it. It used to be, and my old saying back in the day was, I'll pimp you like I own you. You give me an inch and I will promote every single thing. All you have to do is just say, okay, here, send me your link and I'll send you mine and we'll tag each other. I mean, and back in the day, you would have like a snowball effect going. Today, you try to do that, it's all spam.
And yeah, I was about to say, and that's the other thing too, that one of my bigger irritants, not just on Substack and not just on Blue Sky, but on social media, period. You follow somebody or they follow you, and not 5 seconds, they're in your DMs going, hey, do you need something? You need a commission? I don't know you. I haven't seen what you've done. Like, give me 2 minutes to even see your work before I say, okay. And those are some of the same people that, because I bit once just to see what would happen. You pay them, they gone.
Yeah. It's like a catfishing thing.
It really is. But I guess that's why I like the community that I'm in now. Because like I said, every 5 minutes, we are just busy just sharing everybody else's work. We're commenting. And that's the other thing I wish people would learn. Comment.
Yes, comment. It slays me how these people have hundreds of thousands of comments and I'll get a couple of little thumbs up and a
Yeah.
couple of little hearts. And it's like, and another thing that really gets me is, and this happened to me earlier, which is probably why I'm mentioning it now. And this goes back to the church. Someone tagged me in someone sharing the gospel, and I went and looked at it. This was the last person that needed anybody to support them. It's like, do you really think this person knows you exist? And I will promote that all the time on Instagram and Facebook. I will be like, okay, look, I see all of my friends and fans sharing all of these popular bands, yet
Mhm.
I can't even get one share of my music. And it's like, okay, you know what? I know you exist and I will appreciate you. I can promise you, Big Joe Schmo Band, they not only don't care that you're
Yeah.
sharing their stuff, they don't need you and they will never acknowledge that you exist.
No, it's 100% true. I mean,
Yes, it is. And it really kills me that people just continue to feed the machine.
mhm. And then they wonder how it got so messed up.
Yeah, yeah. And then they wonder why, oh, well, I did this and I did this for this band and I didn't get this and I didn't get this. Well, yeah, because you're not going to because they don't know you exist and they don't care. They
Uh-oh. Yeah. I, that's, but that does actually lead into the next question because that cycle of negativity too leads to burnout.
It does.
Like I've seen a lot of people get into, I've even gone through the burnout of, you work full time, you're a content creator, so you're working on that, every spare minute you got, you don't really have that much. Do you have any advice? Because, again, you retired for 12 years. Do you have any advice for people to either prevent burnout or maybe somebody who's trying to crawl out of burnout? Because I know how hard that is to get completely out of burnout. Matter of fact, I'm just now getting out of a 3-year cycle of complete burnout.
Yeah. Probably the easiest way to do it is don't wait around for people.
Right.
I unfollowed someone on Facebook the other day. I say the other day, it was probably like 2, 3 weeks ago. I had contacted them. I had met them, and they're one of these. Oh yeah, you seem like such a really cool person. So I pitched an idea to them, and I got the, oh yeah, we'll have to think about that. Okay, well I've been in this business long enough to know that that's the go pound sand answer.
Yes.
And so I gave them the benefit of the doubt, gave them a little bit of time. They kept tagging me in all of their things, but they wouldn't reciprocate. So unfollow,
Yeah.
take out the trash. If you try to network with someone and they won't network with you, cut them loose and keep searching. That's the most important thing. And I know that's difficult. Trust me, you will not find anyone else on this planet who will acknowledge how difficult that is
Mhm.
other than me. I mean, because I've been there, I've done it, I do it every single day. Another thing is when someone tries to network with you and you're not interested, say you're not interested.
Thank you.
Don't bring them along. Just say, this place that I unfollowed on Facebook, if they had just said to me, you can't be in this business, and I think you will agree with me because what you do isn't a whole lot different from what I do. You cannot be in this business and be thin-skinned.
No, no, not one bit.
So if you're not interested in networking with someone or it's just not your thing, just say, hey, look, you seem like you're really cool. I like what you do, but it's just not for me. We will respect that a lot more than, oh yeah, I'll have to think about that, because we all know what that means. And to me,
Yeah.
that's better than just saying, nope, you're not my thing. Hey, best of luck to you, but nah.
Oh, believe me, yeah. And when you do advertising sales too, yeah, you get that a lot. Like, hey, yeah, I know when the starts coming out, that's when you're like, yeah, I know what the next words out of your mouth are. Well, we don't know if we have that in the budget. That's like, just say no. It's okay. I've heard that word enough to where it doesn't bother me anymore.
Exactly. And another thing is, don't discount any networking opportunity.
No, no.
And I know I'm probably living in the past, but I got my start when I got famous the first time around. I got started on a blog. I just found this person online. She had a blog. She maybe had 5 visitors a month. And she hosted poetry from other authors on her site. And I said, hey, will you put some of my poetry on your page? And she's like, yeah, sure. Well, somebody somewhere saw it, and I started getting visits. I went to another website, and this website, it had kickstarted the career of a pretty famous horror author back in the day, but they had kind of languished in years. I said, hey, I've got a story. Would you consider taking it? They read it, they took it. I don't know who visited the site, but it was like within weeks, I had a meteoric rise. So just because someone doesn't have a lot of power now, don't discount them, because yes, this saying is as old as the hills, but it will probably never, ever go out of style. All it takes is one person.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
one person.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's something I do on Wednesdays on Blue Sky. We call it Horror Writers Chat. And it's a bunch of us that, have written, or, maybe just throw things around. Everybody's always invited to join in. They give you 4 questions every week. And it's just a fun way of networking and having a little good time. I have gotten, I think, 3 publishing houses have started following me on Blue Sky just because of that. And now, trying to look into them and seeing what's a good fit. But you're right. Don't ever underestimate something as small as Horror Writers Chat, because
right. Or anything else. Just because someone contacts you, and a lot of people are like, well, they don't have any followers. Well, that doesn't matter. One of their followers could be somebody that is like really big time that you don't know.
Yeah.
And probably my biggest pet peeve and biggest thing I will say, be responsible. If you tell somebody you're going to do something,
do it.
Don't make excuses. I tried to get a perfume line started many years ago. I have this perfume in my mind because I can never find perfume that I really like. So I contacted this perfumer and I said, here's what I want. And I said, I'll help you promote it. And if it works out, we can branch into other things, because you never know. She never did do it. I finally contacted her and I said, hey, have you changed your mind? Because you have not contacted me. I haven't seen anything from you. No, I've been sick and I've been this, but I haven't changed my mind. That was 5 years ago.
Yeah. And funny you bring that up, because I know that, and just to let you know, in a couple of minutes, I'm gonna have to close this out and reinvite you to a new chat, because Zoom only gives me 40 minutes and I see the clock running.
Okay. I'm up for it. Hey, I could talk. We could sit and chat all day. I'm all for it.
It's funny to me, because there is right now I know in the romanticy side of things, there's a big controversy right now with that 1 Million Lives. And that's what's happening with the event organizer. Every time a deadline comes up to start refunding people, oh, she's in the hospital. Oh, her identity got stolen. I love that one. That's been my favorite one. It's happened twice within 6 months that she's got her identity stolen, and her bank account mysteriously freezes when it's time to pay somebody.
Oh yeah, my favorite thing that I'm always telling people is the dog ate your homework doesn't work anymore.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I've had several out-of-body experiences. Got done. That's kind of the whole thing. So
yeah, so just my main thing to people is keep your word. Don't take on the project if you can't do it. Right. And you have to promote. Tag, little circle and sign, little circle, hashtag, go crazy.
Yes. Believe me, there's a lot of us that will not be annoyed.
Yes.
The podcast partner I have with the Horror Nerd Experience, believe me, she knows that a little too well.
Yeah, and see, See, and actually what I would love to do, I wanted to get your permission though, because I didn't, I always like to ask first. Those really cool horror questions that you pose that I'm always answering,
100%.
I would love to share those on my page, on my Instagram page, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
I'll be dead level honest with everybody. That's what I use AI for.
Yeah, well, hey, I think those questions are cool and I love answering them.
Yeah.
So I would love to share those on my, and then of course I'll tag you and then they'll see your tag and then they can go visit. That's how it works, people.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. I mean, and believe me, if anybody wanted to do that, I have no problems with doing it. But that's kind of my whole thing too. It's like if you're gonna do something like what we're discussing, always put the original poster, always tag the original poster. People, I see people do that all the time and they try to pass it off as their content. And I'm just like,
Oh yeah.
other people did that. Even if they just put it into Chat GPT for 5 seconds and cut and paste. Guilty.
Yeah.
But
If I miss any of yours, be sure and tag me so I can snatch it and put it on my page.
absolutely.
As I always tell people, these old eyes don't catch everything anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not the machine I used to be.
I'm kind of the same way too. I have misread people so many times and answered a question stupidly.
Well, it's just I was a machine back in the day. I'm 56 years old now. I'm not a machine anymore. I'm a broken down machine.
I'm not that far behind you. So all right, let me see here. Let me get my questions back up here because there's actually a good one. What is your writing kryptonite?
My writing kryptonite. Anything gushy,
Yeah.
teeny bopper, I just can't. I can't. I don't want to read a love story unless everybody dies and suffers horribly before they die. I don't want to read happy, happy, joy, joy. They all live happily ever after. No,
No.
that's my writing kryptonite. I cannot do romance. I can do doomed romance. Romance that could never really happen,
Yeah.
Haunted mansion style romance, you look up, there's a body swaying from the rafters. I can do that kind of romance, but
Yeah. No, I've kind of gotten that with like for me, it's if something becomes too emotionally overloading when I'm writing, because like The Invitation, I just finished that one 2 weeks ago, a week ago. And I mean, there were times I had to literally stop and just put it down because I'm like, no, this is getting too real. This is getting too way too into because I intentionally wrote it that way as here's every single one of my fears, here's every single one of my insecurities. I'm gonna put it in character. And in the middle of it, it just started screwing with me.
Yeah. I just my whole life, my whole existence has always been darkness and black skies, thunder, lightning, rain, the sun. It's like, and it's just my rotten luck. I would be born in Florida, but it's just like, no, if it's happy and yay, I don't want to read that. I can't read that. I'll get physically ill.
Yeah. Well, that's, I mean, I got a lot of friends like that too. So you don't have to, but,
and also, probably my biggest writing kryptonite though, is I cannot stand the formulaic writing of most publishing houses. I cannot stand that. I remember early in my writing career, one of my agents came to me with a book and handed it to me. And she said, if you ever want to be on the New York Times bestsellers list, you need to write like this. I couldn't even get past the first 5 pages and I was skimming and I stopped. I handed it back to her when I saw her a couple of weeks later. And I said, if this is what I have to write, if this is how I have to write to be on the New York Times bestsellers list, I hope I never make it.
Well,
and she got the funniest look on her face. And I said, this is crap. I want to read how people really talk. I want to feel like I'm there. I want to feel like they're talking to me. I don't want to be like, oh, yeah, okay, well, this is something I can, I can't get into this. But, it's nice to watch or nice to listen to, nice to read, but I don't want that. I want to be there. I want to experience it.
Yes, 100%. It's like I want to feel that. But you talking about the formulaic way there for a little bit. That's what killed. Let's just be honest. That's what killed fantasy for a while. Was
Oh yeah.
everybody had to write the same way. The prince has to go get the girl, and the girl has to go screw the monster every once in a while. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why can't we have that's
And
why,
the nonsensical. It's like I
yeah,
cannot stand to read books. People don't speak that way.
they don't.
I don't want to read a book like I'm hanging out at the mall and listening to a bunch of teenagers, but I also don't want to read a book that sounds like it was written, unless it is that type of book. Now, if I'm reading something like that was written in the 15, 16, 1700s, okay, that's fine. But if I'm reading something that was written in 1980 up until now,
Yeah,
I don't want to feel like I'm reading a book from the Middle Ages
yeah.
with
That
the formulaic proper English and here, what I just no, give me real speech, give me real people.
yeah, he's all or she's all learned. He's just a dumbass that and then yeah, and she speaks perfect English, and you're just sitting
Right.
there going, that doesn't work in the real world. She would run the hell away in 2 seconds the minute he opened his mouth.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's my kryptonite. And boy, I've had reviewers tear me apart for that. This, the tenses and the what all else have they said? Sentence structure's horrible, and it's like, okay, you know what? I write how I speak, and people who know me personally have read my stuff, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's like having a conversation with you.
Yeah, but that's what makes the best stuff,
Yeah,
because
but
we're drawing from
the
experience.
higher up don't see it like that, but that's why I've never been welcome and at anybody's pool party.
And that's why a lot of people aren't sitting in Barnes and Noble at the moment either, because they haven't realized that hey, people don't want that anymore.
No,
They
they don't.
I get romanticy is a big thing right now, but uh, anybody
No, th
outside of book talk really read romanticy?
yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you.
I'm 100% with you. Um, we haven't. Well, okay. What is your current favorite in the horror genre? What's your favorite film right now?
My favorite film right now, gosh, that's difficult to say. Because horror is it's really a sticky point with me
Mm-hmm.
because I can't stand mindless sex. I don't want to see TNA 15 seconds into the movie.
Right.
You know, not just men of the world, don't take this the wrong way, but y'all aren't the only ones that watch horror. Women do too. And if I want to see TNA, I got plenty of my own I can look at. Um, I don't want mindless sex. I said this one time a while back. The zombie apocalypse is happening. The zombies are trying to get into the barn, and you got two people that want to have sex. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Thank you.
And so horror with me is just it's really difficult because everybody makes stupid decisions. They've got stupid dialogue, or they go in the other direction and they turn it into a soap opera. So when it comes to horror, probably one of my favorite, my feel good horror movie is Return of the Living Dead, because that's like a trip down memory lane for me every time I watch it, because it's like, hey, that looks like the group I hung out with.
You're right. That it's for me. It's Night of the Living Dead is like a hug to me, because that is. I'll admit this right now. That was the first horror movie I ever saw. Um,
Yeah.
being
Well,
in,
Return of the Living Dead is the one that I really love, because it's like, you know, I think I hung out with a girl that looked like trash, and I know I hung out with a girl that looked like the dark haired girl. I know I hung out with somebody that looked like her back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked the remake of Night of the Living Dead, the one with Patricia Tallman. I really, really loved that one. I loved that one a lot because it wasn't stupid decisions. I stood up and cheered when she shot Tom Towles in the head,
Yeah.
his character in the head. My mind is so bad with names. Um, but yeah, she shot him in the head, and I was like, because most of the time I don't know, something stupid would have happened. But I like that. I like the Blade movies, the first one and the second one. I liked Queen of the Damned. A lot of people are like, that was just such an awful movie. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I never read the book. So
A beautiful movie. I mean, I've seen all of the Interview with the Vampire movies, and I'm just like, Queen of the Damned is the best one out of all of them. Don't.
yeah, I just loved Queen of the Damned. But probably my favorite horror movie, there's two of them actually, kind of, um, Train to Busan and World War Z. And Train to Busan, I have told people, once you see Train to Busan, you will never look at zombie movies the same way again, because you'll be like, why aren't all zombie movies made like this?
Yeah, I kind of felt that way about 28 Days Later too, because I'm like, this is probably, if the zombie apocalypse could legitimately happen, this is probably how it's going to happen. And this is, I guess it's why also Threads and The Day After Tomorrow are two of my favorites, because it's like, no, this is what's really going to happen. Don't sit there and show me the fall. Don't show me fall. I love Fallout. And don't get me wrong, I love Fallout. But Threads and The Day After are more realistic than Fallout.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's another movie that I really love, and no one's heard of it. But, and I do love World War Z because I love the whole, because I don't actually believe that anything has to be zombie. I believe that people can become infected and not like come back from the dead. They don't necessarily have to do that. They can just become infected like they did in World War Z. But another movie I absolutely love, and as far as I know, I'm the only person that even know it exists. It's a movie called The Girl with All the Gifts.
I think I've heard of that one.
It's got Glenn Close in it and Gemma Arterton. And that movie is amazing, but it's the same thing. There's no titties and no butt, no sex, no drinking, no stupid decisions, and it's not nonstop action from the 2 seconds it starts until the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like no one wants to watch it. And Maggie was another good one. I loved Maggie. I think it's some of Arnold Schwarzenegger's best work. Maggie was boring. Oh, yeah, I know. There wasn't nonstop stupidity going on from the beginning of the movie. Sorry.
Yeah. What do you think about analog horror? You ever experience like analog? I guess it's kind of like the found footage. It's like an offshoot of found footage.
Um, I I don't mind it as long as I don't know. That's kind of like a loaded question for me because I have seen some like post-apocalyptic type things done that's been found footage and it was pretty good, but it seems like anytime anyone goes into horror and tries to do it, it devolves
It's
very quickly.
Yeah, for me, it's either it's really good or it's absolutely garbage and you didn't put enough time and thought into what you were actually doing. Like there's a couple of YouTube series I watch and like Midwest Angelica, which is absolutely insane that they can. It's I think of only one person. Local 58 is another one that I thought was really good. But then I guess one of the things is Skinamarink. I just couldn't get into it. And I'm somebody who loves analog horror. I love, when you're pulling back up the old 80s stuff. And yeah, I even like Blair Witch, but Skinamarink just did not do anything. for me.
Yes, yeah, I haven't seen that because I watched the Blair Witch and I was just, I'm sure I'll probably be vilified for
Yeah.
this. But I watched the Blair Witch and I was like,
Yeah, we'll see. Paranormal Activity kind of got me out of analog horror for a while too, because I'm just like, this is getting stupid.
yeah, it really, I have not, honestly, I have not seen any of those, and I don't want to see them
Oh.
because being involved in the paranormal world the way I am, it's
Mhm.
like, okay, look, the first thing I can tell you is that ghosts do not appear on cue. Just because you set up a camera, they're not going to put on a show for you. Yeah, they're not going to just, okay, well, now we just sit and wait. Oh, okay, well, you might have a 2 or 3 month wait.
Yeah,
They're not circus animals.
that's kind of why I don't like those shows either.
Yeah,
Because
I can't stand anything like that. And that's why I'm not really popular in the paranormal world. Actually, I'm not popular at all in the paranormal world because being an empath, I'll out people. I mean, I'll go right online and say and right in front of everybody what they're doing. This is fake. This is bull. None of this is going on. I've done it. I've shut down paranormal groups and so people do not like me, but it's like, okay, look, I come from a long line of country witches. And the paranormal in my family is as common as people watching TV. I
yeah,
mean, my mother's side of the family is loaded with real paranormal stories, and we don't even think anything about them. But in that same vein, when you're someone like me, you don't want to put up with the what I call TV paranormal
yes,
because that is all crap and it makes people laugh at me and it's like okay I take what I do seriously. If there's nothing going on in a building, I'm going to look right at you and say there's nothing here. Quit making crap up.
yeah,
I mean, I've done that.
instead of screaming, "Yo, demons, it's your boy," like every time I see stuff like that, I'm like, dude, really? You're gonna?
And like, you know what, if you came across a real demon you would poop your pants.
Oh, absolutely. But that leads into a good thing because since we're both Southern, we're both Gothic, folk horror. What I love folk horror. I don't know about you, but do you like the genre of folk horror? And if so, what's some of your favorites?
That's another loaded question for
Hmm.
me because some of it is I like it, but I prefer to see it in film.
Hmm.
I don't necessarily want to read it, but like the movie Pumpkinhead.
Yep.
Okay, I sat there and the whole time, and my husband and I was sitting there laughing at me. He's like, "Hey, honey, how'd they get your family to be in the film?" Because the backwoods hillbilly people that I'm telling you right now, that's my mother's people. That is my mother's people right there. So it's like I can watch it, but I don't necessarily want to read it if they expand on it. It's like I tell people if I'm going to send you because people have asked me for my paranormal stories, and it's like, okay, look, I'm going to send you what I've got. It's maybe a page or two because I'm not going to embellish it. I'm going to tell it to you just like it is. And Pumpkinhead, I felt, did a really good job of condensing whatever the original story was. Now, some of it, like I said, I have a difficult time reading it because it's like, okay, I don't need to know that 50 years ago, Raymond Potter sat down on this ground and twiddled his thumbs while he looked at the sky. And it's like, no, no, just give me the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah. But no, because I agree with you on that. Because when you're reading it, especially when I read it, I cannot feel the pull. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the outsiders, I can't feel how they're pulled. But when I'm watching something like Midsummer, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching the movie, and then I watch her just start to slowly compromise, slowly convert, and I'm going, brilliant. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely loved Pumpkinhead because it was so close to home.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like, that's my mother's people right
When you live in the
in
deep
the
south,
whole,
you're right about
yeah,
that.
in the hills and the hollers all of them people. Yeah, that's my mother's people.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the thing about things like, Pumpkinhead and Deliverance. And it's like, hey, that's Uncle John.
Oh, I'm serious. I was sitting there watching Deliverance and the little boy playing the banjo. I'm like, yeah, they must have filmed that shortly, a couple roads down from where my mother was or something.
Is this the documentary of the family I don't talk to anymore?
Yeah, and people laugh about that, but it's like, some folk horror is scarier than anything you can ever imagine. I mean, I've published my stories numerous times and sent them to people, and it's like they're like, this actually happened? Yeah, it actually happened. That's things that happen in the South. The South is well known for a bunch of weird stuff.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Considering that, just about all of us, we live on some kind of Civil War battleground,
Or Indian burial ground. If, like me, you were born in Florida, everything's on an Indian burial ground here practically.
Well, I mean, South Carolina is the same way too. I mean,
Yeah.
No telling how many Lumbees and especially where I live in the north east part of the state. You've had so many Lumbee burial grounds, especially like I said, around where I'm from, and of course, being in a town that was very crucial to Southern transportation, if you will, during the Civil War.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we believe me, we see a lot of it, and I still laugh at the story that we almost got nuked off the planet, but
yeah,
Mars Bluff ain't that far from here.
Hey, yep. You never know when you're talking about the South and some of the weird things that go on here.
Oh yeah, matter of fact, I've got friends that have actually shown me the cordoned off area in North Carolina where the nuclear bomb still sits.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's absolutely, you go back and you read those stories, and this is why I always feel like movies that could happen in real life are scarier to me than anything else on the planet, is because you read the documentaries and you're like, this bomb was one switch away from going off the second it hit the ground. And you're just like, what?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, my great grandmother said that, and of course this isn't going to happen, but it just shows you how people in the South are. My great grandmother, when she came down for a visit, she said that Florida was going to break off and float out into the ocean.
All Bugs Bunny style?
Yep, Bugs Bunny style. That's what she swore it. She just did not understand why my mom and dad wanted to live here, because Florida was going to break off and float away.
Now it's going to be like the rest of the East Coast. We're going to be under 100 feet of water.
Yeah.
When the oceans return, I'll have property.
Another friend of mine said that her grandmother, or no, actually, a friend of mine corroborated this. My husband's grandmother said that Florida was going to sink from Tarpon Springs down. And a friend of mine one time told me, she said, well, you know that Florida is gradually sinking, right? And I'm like, well, then there you go. There's Old South for you. Old South knowledge.
It's only going to take another, 300-400 years, but
well, at least I won't be here. We've got enough of the hurricanes.
Oh yeah, believe me, we just had Sean Tall come through not 2 or 3 days before recording this. So, but yeah, no, for us it was the Charleston is going to fall back into the sea.
Oh, okay.
Charleston's going to fall back into the sea. When the earthquake happens, the entire coastline will just disappear, and everything from Marion on will be beachfront property. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah. South Carolina is not going to disappear. Florida is not going to break off and float out into the ocean.
I mean, it would be fun if those things would happen on occasion, but
But yeah, leave it to Southern people to have some serious imaginations.
Oh, you're not kidding. You're not. All right, just a couple more questions here, because I know you and I both got other commitments here. Let's talk about your photography for a little bit, because I know you enjoy that.
Yeah, I do. I love doing art. I love doing photography. I'm not really good at either one, but I enjoy doing both of them. And I do my own art.
Hmm.
I do my own animation for my photography that I do, and I'll take public domain pictures and I'll work on those. And yeah, I really, really enjoy doing that. And I enjoy doing films. And my films aren't anything that are ever going to win any kind of awards or anything, but I absolutely love doing them. Like I went to my local park a few days after the hurricane hit here, and they had like tape up, and some of it had been torn down, because you're not going to stop the kids from going and getting into what they're not supposed to after the storm. And trees were down, fence pieces were down. So I just walked around with my camera and filmed, and I called it Day 10 after the end. And it was supposed to be like a post apocalyptic movie.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine who's like a professional filmmaker was like, "Hey, this was pretty cool." I was like, "Oh, that's kind of what it looked like around here." But I enjoy doing all of that.
Yeah. And well, I guess this would be the perfect time to ask this question. Any advice? Somebody's probably sitting there right now, watching YouTube, going, "Damn, I wish I could do that, but this, that, and the other, every excuse in the book." What's some good advice for people to get started? Maybe, they want to shoot a horror film, but they just, they think that's just out of their reach.
It's really not. And I'm so glad you asked this because I love telling people this. If you have a phone,
Mhm.
you can shoot a horror film.
Yep.
I have some of my work up on my YouTube channel, just things that I have filmed, creepy trees with moss hanging from them and set to creepy music. And this really irks me when people say, "Yeah, well, I have to pay. You have to pay for music and that gets expensive." No, you don't. There is this absolutely fabulous site. They're not as expansive as they once were, but they still have a lot of good stuff that you can use. It's called freepd.com. And Kevin MacLeod is the one that's the head of it. He also does the Incompetech. But freepd.com, you do not have to pay for one thing on that site. It is copyright free and royalty free. This is what kills me when people say, "Oh, well, it's royalty free, but you still have to give attribution or something like that," which means someone could come along and say, "Oh, hey, I changed my mind. You have to take that down." Everything on Kevin MacLeod's site, freepd.com, is 100% free. You do with it what you want, except you can't copyright it and claim it's your own.
Right.
But he's got a great, great amount of music on there. Everything from stuff that's like 35 seconds to over an hour. And you download free movie software. That's what I started with. And it has limited capabilities, but you use what you can. And don't have champagne taste and a beer bottle pocketbook. Okay, you're not going to be able to go out and shoot a George Romero movie on a free budget.
I
Start slow, work your way up, get your name out there. And then you might be able at some point, like I ended up buying, I use Motion Leap and I use UCut. And I've bought the licenses for both of those. And I was able to do that after a little while, save up some money and buy that. Then you'll have access to everything. Pay attention. Do it. You can do everything on your phone. Every single thing I have done. If you go to my YouTube and you look at all my movies, you look at everything I've done, all on my phone. There is not one thing I have sat at a computer with all of this expensive software and everything else and done. Everything has been done on my phone.
yeah, I
And people will say all the time, and this irks me, "Well, but yep, that's not going to do what I want it to do." Okay, well, you know what? I should have been 5'11", 125 pounds, and look like Barbie Benton. But
yeah.
it's an imperfect universe.
Well, yeah, and I'm glad you said that too, because everything that I use is free.
Yeah,
I mean,
if it's not free, I don't touch it.
Caden Live, I use Caden Live all the time. And yeah, it's got a little bit of a learning curve to it, But if you use Shotcut before, you know how to use it. And by the way, they're not sponsoring this, so just letting everybody know. But I've used was it DaVinci has a free version. I don't really like that. It doesn't play very well. I I will sit here right now. Kdenlive, I've done everything on Kdenlive. And Blender, also Blender is free, so you don't have to deal with Adobe and pay
Right.
$100 a month. Why would you do that? I mean,
Yeah, that's crazy. And UCut, you can use UCut, and for the free version, they do have some pretty nice stuff. PixArt, if you want to make your and I don't pay for PixArt, so and they still have a lot of choices if you want to make your pictures look old, whatever you want to do. There's a lot of free stuff that you can use.
mhm.
And film. Go out and film a nasty, dirty ditch. I went out one time in my backyard and I made a movie a long time ago called 72 Hours. It was my version of a zombie movie. It was like a found footage type of thing. And I went out in my backyard and I found a couple of places where the fence needed to be repaired. And I found a couple of my dog's toys that she had chewed up. And I found some like dead bugs. And I filmed all of this stuff and I made it the trailer for the film.
Mhm.
Didn't cost me anything.
No.
And I did it right on my phone.
And here's the other thing too. You know, a lot of people don't understand this too. You're not going to be Federico Fellini right off the top. You have to
No,
you have to learn the editing and learn the equipment. And you're right. What you said earlier there with, well, it's not going to do what I want it to do. Well, you're not going to be able to do what you want it to do. A lot of the free version stuff, and this is what I think a lot of people miss. A lot of the free version stuff is good enough until you actually get comfortable and you learn the software. And then you can
absolutely.
move on to the paid stuff. And I mean, believe me, I've been learning Blender for 3 years and I still suck at it.
Yeah,
So, so it takes a while. It
it
takes,
does. You're not, see, people want, and we live in a world where everybody wants everything right now. And I can tell you what, if you're going to make your own horror movies, that is not how it works. If you're going to make any kind of movies, that's not how it works. It's going to take time.
and, and I'll say this in total agreement with you on this. I think there's a huge portion of the horror community that actually appreciates the amateur. I don't like to use the word amateur there, but for lack of a better term, the amateur quality.
Yeah,
Because we're getting pumped out just remake and sequel and remake and sequel. And how many Facebook posts and blue sky posts and horror posts, period, that I've seen where it's just like, just give us something new. We don't care what it's like. Just give us something.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because what is it now? They've made another Superman.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you kidding me?
Well,
What is Superman 5,000 years old now or what?
well, I looked at Henry Savilli's Savini, sorry, Savini's next works.
Cavill, I think Henry Cavill, is that his name?
Cable,
Henry
yeah,
Cavill?
Cable. It's a remake of Voltron. It's a remake of Highlander, and it's a remake of something else. And I'm sitting there going, okay, that's great that you want to remake a lot of the things, especially because yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited for the new Voltron. I'm excited for a remake of Voltron. I'm excited for a remake of Highlander. Hell, Ares Rising is conceived from Highlander, for crying out loud. So I will watch it. No, Highlander 2 does not exist. But it's all remakes now, and just do something. And I think that's what we're trying to tell everybody. Just if you got an idea, do it, and don't be afraid to make yourself look like an idiot. We both done
Right,
it.
right. And ask people for help. I cannot tell you how many times I have told people, if you need help with something, contact me. I'll help you. I
Yes.
can supply the music for you. I can help you, guide you through what you need to do with some of the editing, some of the transitions. I tell people all the time, my music's free.
Yeah.
All you have to do is tell me that you want to use it. And all I ask for is a little link to my, my music on YouTube. That's all I ask for. That's it. But people are like, oh, well, I have to pay for music. No, you don't.
No.
It's another example of they would rather complain about what they can't do than take someone up on their offer and reach out to someone.
Matter of fact, the guy that I had do music for Dangerous Tides is a guy out of Denmark, free. Because I dug his music. I'm definitely going to reach out to you for more when I do more projects. But, again, you're right. Don't be afraid to ask. Even if they say no, most people in the horror community will go, I can't do that, but here's somebody who will.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, if you like something I've done, email me. I'll send you the song because I've got all of my songs saved onto my drive. So it's like, I'll just, it'll come by file transfer because it's going to be bigger than what Google can handle, but I'll send you the song.
Yeah. And that's
and not everything in this world is strings attached. And honestly, if it is, then you need to avoid those kinds of people. But I tell people all the time, you're not going to strike gold the first time you start digging. You're going to have to work for it.
Exactly. And, you're going to get better over time. That's the one thing. Just, I guess what we're both trying to say here is just A, do it, and B, stick with it.
Yes. And C, if you see someone online that's offering free music or free help, take them up on it.
Absolutely.
Because, it's like people are so down on AI. I'm not. I waited for 30 years for someone to network with me. I write song lyrics. I write poetry that's been turned into song lyrics. My poetry has appeared on greeting cards, for Pete's sake. But if I would contact a band and say, hey, I've got this poem, would you like to read it? Oh, yeah, go ahead and send it to us, and never hear from them. Or, yeah, let me get back with you. And it's like, okay, I'm, 30 years on now. Here comes the advent of AI. I sat and bawled my eyes out when I heard my one song that I've been waiting 30 years to hear. AI music. The lyrics are mine, but the voice and the music are AI, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
And that's
and that just right, and that just goes back to people don't want to network, and I just don't understand it.
That one day we'll figure it out. But
I doubt it because our mindset just isn't like that.
No,
our mindset just isn't we just don't understand the whole it's free for the taking and you'd rather go someplace else.
Yeah, well, that's people for you. But Andrea, I appreciate you coming on the show here, being my first guest on this new podcast. And
well, I've had a blast.
Absolutely. And we can't wait to see where you go from here. Always. And you have an open invitation on this show.
Oh, well, anytime. Just let me know. Just let me know whenever you got a slot open. I'll be here.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me.